Like your lip gloss is popping.
Hey y'all.
Hello, good people.
Hey. Now give me Oh, go ahead. Hey y'all. We back.
We back. Missed you, but we back at it. How's everybody been? I'm glad everybody's back on. We back on. We are ready to rock and roll. You know, you are on with us with our unscripted beautiful life. So this is
Katrina. Mrs. Beautiful.
and Mr.
I
Beautiful.
thought you was gonna go Mr. and Mrs. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So we back in it, y'all.
I'm just so tonight we had not last week.
Yeah,
Whenever night, whatever
last week,
week. No,
last
no, no,
Tuesday.
no, 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 no. We had asked people to send in topics. And tonight's episode is from our cousin Arkita, and we are talking about changes, whether we can change one another in a relationship. Because I'll say this is from probably more or less from the perspective of a woman's perspective. Oh, I can change him, right? We think we going into a relationship thinking that we can change someone, but from our journey, that's not the case. The only person we can change is our own selves. Like you can influence,
Yeah.
but you have to be prepared sometimes, I think, to be met with resistance if you trying to change somebody and it's not going the way that you would like it to go, but it's going the way it's supposed to go. You learn a whole lot about yourself when you go into a relationship, I guess with the wrong motives. Maybe is that the right word? Maybe that's not the right word.
Well, I will say this. Just talking to other couples and things like that. When we try to change each other, that's when a lot of problems start to exist.
True.
Because you say this, why you trying to change me? You got problems that you need to change yourself. So then it goes to this back and forth thing. Again, it goes back to our topic, probably from the first or the second one, where we're not in competition with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're doing that, when you're going into the intentions, this how I think of it. If you're going into the intentions on getting into the relationship that I want to change somebody, you're going into it for the wrong reasons. Because it shouldn't be that I want to change you. You should like the person that you're dealing with. You should like a lot of their attributes that they come with already.
Yeah. But
But
then there's those ones that's like, oh, he getting on my nerves today. This got to go. Like,
I mean that's it's a two-way street.
yeah.
It's a two-way street because it's some things that I always say this: if your goods are outweighing your bads, then you still have something to continue to fight for. So if you're going into a relationship and you start to jot down your papers, men or women, and you starting to, all right, this might get serious, and you got your pros, you got your cons, maybe some similarities, and you saying my pros, I have 5 pros that I like about this guy, but I got 10 cons. Should you continue going forward? like,
But see, and that's where I think the thing is, right? I think again, I think women are guilty of this, is that we'll see those 10 cons and think, oh, I can shift that.
you're
So
going into
now
the
I'm
wrong.
getting 7 on this side and 3 on that side. And that's where I think we get tripped up. Not even just women, but
I was
men
gonna
in
say,
general
yeah,
too, because we go in thinking, okay, well, if they pick up on my way of doing things, and they follow in my lead, then okay, they're more likely to change, which is the case. But there's always that what if that person doesn't change. Like you got to think about your
right,
list
right,
as the things that are non-negotiable,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
No cheating, no physical, mental or abuse. Like what are your non-negotiables when it comes to your relationship and the
yes,
things that you kind of like, okay, this is what I want,
right.
but you're not stuck on it if that person doesn't meet that characteristic. We talked about the list before,
Yeah,
and
because you have to have time to grow as well.
yes.
So if you're going back to it, if one of your cons is a pet peeve for you, and you knowing that, okay, I may not be able to change this person. The only way this person is going to be able to change is if he sees it for himself or she sees it for herself and they change. Then that's the only time that someone can really, truly, truly change. Because if Trina doesn't like something about me and she tells me this and I don't see it, what am I going to want to change for? Because I don't see the problem. It's just like trying to help someone who has an addiction. If they don't think they have an addiction, they're not going to go seek help themselves. You know what I mean?
So I do, but I think when, in the example you just gave, if there's something that I'm coming to you about, like, hey, I think you need to change this area, I think you also have to be open to hear that, right? It's like the
Yeah.
criticism, the feedback, and like you have to be open to want to hear me, because I may be coming to you saying I don't like when you do X, Y, and Z, and all of a sudden that puts you on defense. One, did I come at you in a way that would allow you to be open to receive
Right.
what it
Right,
is?
right.
Or am I coming to you in this naggy attitude, neck roll, all this other stuff? I hate when you do da 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 da. Then you're not going to receive
You're
what
not
I
gonna
have to
receive.
say.
Yeah.
Hey, Frida.
That's I mean that's even in your friendship relationships that you
Yeah.
had. You know?
Anyway.
So
Yep.
if somebody's coming to you, even but again, babe, it's still one of those things that if I still don't see that I have an issue, it's still gonna be some resentment because you still at the end of the day don't see that whatever you see, I don't see. You know what I mean?
But I think that's where it it's a conversation starter,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
Because I may be coming to you about something that I see, but that may be an issue within me. That may not be an issue that somebody, you know what I mean? Like it
Right.
may not be an overall issue. It might just be, this is my nitpicking. This is my pet peeve. And like we talked about the toothpaste thing, like
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
bothered me. I'm,
Right,
I'm
right.
being as real as I can. That bothered me. But to know, am I going to really
I
let
don't
it?
think you ever really told me that though.
I
So,
probably, I
so
probably didn't, because I was like, it's not a big deal to me.
true.
It wasn't a deal breaker for me. Oh, Trina, you really about to be as petty about the toothpaste? No, I'm not. So, but there's certain things that I'm not going to compromise on
Yep, yep.
when
I
it
understand.
comes to, what it is that I want in my spouse.
Right,
Like there's just
right.
certain things. Like
Yeah.
you're not gonna walk around here in anger, so everybody gonna walk on eggshells. Like that just ain't gonna work.
Well, that was me for a while.
But
So,
but 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 I'm saying,
yeah.
but it took us being open to hear each other, and for us to be able to say, babe, this bothers me when
Hmm.
you do this. This is what happens when we experience your anger.
Right.
And so you got to see it. So it wasn't just me just coming to you. Like I gave you enough examples to see, here's the impact that this having on the family. So that's what I mean.
And some people that might have been a deal breaker for them. So
You
I would just say I praise God and I thank God every day that wasn't one.
you're right. You're right.
Because I was never a physical abuser, and I want you to be honest, babe. Was I ever a verbal abuser?
No, I not at all. I don't.
Okay.
I think for you it was okay. There's just moments when it was too much stress, or it was, you know, maybe the kids didn't do something quick enough, or whatever the response
Yeah,
was. That
because of the times that
right, that
yeah,
the daddy comes out, but like the
yeah,
daddy in terms of the aggressive tone daddy, not
yeah.
the daddy as and I'm gonna hurt you, because you've never been that way. But it was just anger is an emotion that I think a lot of us grow up not knowing how to express, and
Mm-hmm.
because of
Mm-hmm.
that there's all this emotion that builds up, and then all of a sudden the bomb
Wow,
goes off.
wow, that
And
explosion.
that's
Yes.
where I think for us, a part of us about creating this beautiful life is understanding, listen, we're gonna have to really dig into some of the stuff that we both came into the relationship with,
With yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
peel back and say, listen, we've come in with some
yeah.
luggage, we've come in with some baggage, and now it's time to
Start
unpack
unpacking
it.
them baggages.
Time to pack it up,
Yeah.
send it back out the door because it doesn't fit us in our beautiful life. Hey, Muriel, how are you, beautiful?
Yes. So that's definitely one you hit the nail on the head with that one. This, and it's funny, y'all. We always discuss our topics, and we didn't really get to discuss this one as much.
But you
But
got notes.
nah, this old.
Oh,
Yeah, I was
okay.
going to say, I
Okay.
was going to
Okay.
come in and be like, I ain't got no notes today, y'all. This this definitely one of them unscripted ones because I didn't really get into it. But when she told me that about it, I'm like, oh no, that's something that we can really like. We could chime in on. We don't need anybody else to say too much about that because there was. I would say I don't think Trina's ever tried to change me as a person. Like I think that's one of the things that might have helped me. I don't know. I mean, that's why she's sitting here. But she's never tried to change me as a person.
I'm out.
She wanted me to grow as a person.
Yeah, but there is a line because I will be honest. I think there were times in the beginning when it was kind of like, oh no, I can, this is I need to fix this. I'm coming in thinking I'm the fixer, right? But realizing that he ain't gonna change unless he wants to change, and that's where it's like, okay, let's have the conversation about some of these things, and there's things like that I might have said, and like, hey, this is what I want you to do, and you just like, no, that's not it, because your assignment is different. You know what I mean? Like that's what I mean about. I think in a relationship, I do think you go into a relationship thinking that you will be able
Yeah.
to change. That's right. You go in with that assumption that you can be able to change somebody. But for us, now again, these are the views of Katrina and Andre Henderson. For us,
Yeah.
it's been through growth and through learning and through releasing, like the generational curses
Curses.
that happen,
Yeah.
or just what, from just growing up, like just the things that we carry, not realizing, oh, I got some stuff to unpack. Like, me coming in, I'm divorced, already had a child. Like that was different for us in the beginning of how to become a blended family, right? That was a hard thing to get through, and that's another topic
I
that
mean,
we'll have to.
I would say for me because my family is blended and I I I guess since I already was in that I don't think the transition was as hard. I would say the biggest transition was not having sisters growing up and being
Having to deal with
able
girls.
to have to really dial it back some. And I apologize to Caleb for this because I didn't dial it back in time enough. So Caleb was my road dog, man. She rode in the car with me when I ain't had no heat, no air conditioning. Like she ain't there complain, no nothing. She just, all right, let's go. Bundled up, let's kick it, let's roll. And with my parenting style of not ever having a girl, and my mother wasn't no soft person either. Like she was tough with it. So I brought that same toughness in. That to me probably was my biggest hurdle was trying to be able to discipline Kayla without having to put my hands on her because again that's not my biological, but that's my first daughter. Till this day, I don't care what nobody says. And if anybody asks me, I got 3 kids, and that's it. I was just telling somebody this, and then when I tell them how old she is, they start
Okay.
doing the numbers. They like, come on, bro. You doing too much. You know what I'm saying? Like, why you just can't go with it? That's my daughter. Leave it alone and keep it moving. But I'm building back I'm building peeling back them layers that I put up. I know I put those layers up. I'm trying to I don't know if y'all play Minecraft and Fortnite with that building. I'm trying to break her buildings down. I'm trying to break them walls down again. Because like I said, that was my road dog, and I messed that one up with my disciplining and not doing it in a softer manner.
But I think it's not that you messed it up. I think it's just that because you didn't have that softer side coming in, because like y'all were football, like y'all were all sports, and
Yeah,
there's no softness about it. And so having to learn how to be softer and be open and being more emotional, like really showing your emotions, and like really expressing how you feel, that's something you had to grow through, right, to experience. Because regardless of whether this was an all male household or
it was
not,
toxic.
you still would have had to have experienced
Yeah,
that.
I was saying it was toxic, all males or not. Yeah, it was. I could definitely touch on that. So, but Trina doesn't allow me to. A lot of times, I like to stand on it as a man. Like, listen, I messed up. She's like, don't put that on you. You're not just the one. But that's something that I have to make right. I can't allow it to continue going the way it was going. So every day I try to build on it. But yeah, nah, man, it's like you said, the blended family thing. It's that's another day, another topic, but it's something that you just have to work towards regardless. You know what I mean? It's when you do have a spouse that has kids, no matter if it's one, two, three, no matter how much it is, and you want to get into those blended things, you got to understand that you're not just dating the mom, the dad. They have kids that come with them too, whether it's one or if it's three, if it's five. I mean, whatever floats your boat, go with it. But you have to understand that I'm not just in this with the mother or with the father. They have a kid that's coming with them as well. And I don't think that was ever the issue. Um for me. I was just the toughness of the discipline and the things like that. But I thank her for allowing me to continue to just even be in her life. Because it could have been like, I ain't talking to this dude. Yeah, you dating my mother and that's it. But so I appreciate her still allowing me to, with my toughness, to be in her life and be able to continue to help raise her.
She's good. She's good. But let's get back to what we talking about.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Can
that's
we
a part
get
of it.
that is
That's a
that
part of
is.
it. So yeah, what you think, man?
Really? That's what we doing?
Yeah, we're going back and forth. We piggybacking on each other. We piggybacking, but yeah, it's a good thing.
So are y'all on here? Have y'all ever had gone into a relationship thinking that you're gonna change someone? Because I know we're not the only crazy ones. Well, I know I'm not the only crazy one thinking that you can. Because again, I think you go into a relationship thinking, okay, how can you build? And when you are building, you do see things that, oh, I need to fix that, right? But for me, I think it was yes, coming in, with my list of things that I don't like, can we work on changing this? Or me coming and saying, okay, am I okay if this never changes? Like that's what I think a lot of women, I'm speaking women, I don't know because I don't know the male mind,
Right?
but
You can say you got. I
um
can't speak on women.
I think you have to, if you do identify something about your spouse or the partner that you're thinking about, and if it's not one of those non-negotiables, but it's one of those things that you care about and like you wish would be changed, you gonna at some point you're going to have to face the situation. Well,
Yeah.
what if this thing about this person never
What if
changes?
it never changes?
Can you be okay with that? Because there may be a time when somebody's just stuck in their ways.
Yeah.
And no matter how hard you try, no matter how much you try and think, okay, well, if I, come it this way or come it that way, that person may never change. It's like you have to ask yourself, can you be okay with that? Because if you can't be, then that thing is now a
That's a
non-negotiable.
non-negotiable, and that might be that deal breaker for you
It
in that
might be that deal
relationship.
breaker.
You
But I
know.
think at least I found that I'm coming in thinking I can change, but then the light starts shining on me about, oh, Trina, you got an attitude problem. You need to fix this and that. You know what I mean? So I think it's like, what's the thing when you point your finger, you got four more pointing back
Yeah,
at you, or three more, however it works. Because although there may be some things about our spouse and our partner that we want to change, there are also things about us that they want to change, and
right.
things that we need to change. Because if not, you're going to keep bumping heads, you're going to keep having friction,
Hmm.
because you got two personalities, right? We talked about the introvert
Might be more than
extrovert.
that.
Might be more than
Might
that.
be
You're
more than
absolutely
that.
right about that. um but I think that's the thing, is in any relationship, it's like you may be highlighting the issues for someone else, but then you got to sit back and be like, why does this really bother me?
Yeah.
Right? Because there may, if you can answer that question, there may be some things in you that his behavior may be a trigger for. And now you're like, oh, I need to be sitting on somebody's couch and going through and having a conversation about, well, why does this really bother me? Because it could be a trigger from something that happened to you
As
growing
yeah,
up.
as a kid, those triggers are there. Those triggers are there. Those kid triggers are there. And if you haven't coped with those triggers from your past, I mean, whether it was a kid, teenager, because we all have, evolution. So you have your childhood, then your teenage years, you got your young adult years, and then your pretty much your adult years. And as you grow with time, you should grow as a person to be better, to try to be better than you were yesterday. Anyway, because that's your whole goal in life, is to be the best version of yourself that you can be. And that's why I said, start a list before y'all get to the marriage on deal breakers and things that, if he don't change or she don't change, would I still be able to spend the rest of my life with this person?
But I'm going to take it a step further, because you making your list about things for the other person, but what about the things for you? Like,
What about the things for yourself?
we do this exercise called flaws are all, where we identify the things, that the flaws about us, the things that we don't like, the things, the limiting beliefs that somehow we've picked up along the way. Those things need to be dealt with. They need to, one, be sit down with, figure out, okay, if this flaw that I think is a flaw of mine, is this something that I can reverse and let go, so that you don't bring that baggage
That baggage
into
with you.
the relationship. So
Yeah.
I think you have to have two lists: the list of the things that you want in a spouse and the things you don't want in a spouse, but then also the things about you, within you, that are a limiting belief for you, things that are a flaw, because those are the things that you have to deal with. Because if not, those things interfere, cause problems,
Hmm.
and that's the last thing you want to do. So it's like you got to deal with self first
Yeah.
before you get into a relationship thinking that you're going to change somebody, because you won't be able to, because that thing
So
about you is going to keep coming up.
So now this raised this question of, should you even be trying to get yourself in a relationship if you're not 100% with yourself yet?
I would, knowing where I am now and the things that I had to peel back. No, I think, like with us, I think we got in a relationship too early, because I realized that there were things that I had to change within me, but I didn't realize that
It's all
until later on.
right.
But it's like you gotta seriously look at yourself and do the soul search and do the healing, do
Do that
the
spiritual
work,
work.
do the spiritual
Do that
work,
spiritual work.
and understands, okay, there are some things that I had to heal. Like mine for me was being able to trust again. Like I had to get through that. Wasn't completely through that, but it was through you. I was able to get through that. So just
So
understand.
now let me ask you this, not to cut you off.
Okay.
Do you think that you could have been able to work through trust without having a partner
No, there's certain things
that
about
you
trust that you
need?
have to have a
Right.
partner with.
Right.
Like you can have trust, you can have it, friends, your friends can help you do all of that, but there's still a different level of intimacy when it comes to a spouse and to a partner, that a different level of trust that it
that it
creates.
creates. Yeah.
And so, no, I wouldn't have been able to completely work through trust on my own ahead of time. Like I would have, there's still a part of it that would have had to been worked out in the
For
relationship.
the relationship. Yeah, because I mean, we could sit here and do all these talks and all this all the time. The one thing that I feel like each and every person should do is work on self.
You have to.
Even if you're in a marriage right now,
Yeah.
you're in a relationship right now, it's never ever too late to continue working on self. It's just like when I ask y'all to tell you I'll be better than you were yesterday. That's working on self. That I didn't like X, Y, and Z that I did last month. So let me see this month. Can I limit X, Y? Z might still be there, but can I eliminate X this time? Can I eliminate Y?
Mhm.
And then I can work on Z later. But Miss Sigelman, one of my math teachers that I work with, she helped me because I work with special ed. She helped me understand on breaking down layers of multiplication. Don't try to work every problem out all at one time. Take one problem and work on that problem as long as until you got it or until you fix that problem. And so that's how you slowly start to eliminate those self, I don't want to say self hate.
The limiting beliefs.
Yes, that's how you can start uh, getting rid of those. Is just working on them one problem at a time, one day at a time.
But I will say this is that, you grow, and every day, as you're growing and you're going through your process, there's different things that you may reveal about yourself. And so you may think, oh, I got healed from that. Like I dealt with that. And then all of a sudden you're facing
Yeah.
a different situation. There's more pressures. There's different types of environmental impacts. And so now you're like, oh, I really didn't heal from that. And so now you got to go back and doing digging. So like
Sometimes you gotta take two steps back
you
to
got to
take 10
take two steps
steps
back.
forward.
Yes.
You know?
And I think that's the beautiful thing about life is that we have to evolve every day to
Every day.
become the best person of ourselves.
Yep.
But also understanding that means we still have to give ourselves grace, because there's going to always be something. Like life is going to life no matter
No matter
what.
what.
No matter how much you
It
think
don't
you
wait for
got it figured
nobody.
out, it waits for nobody.
Yeah.
And so you just have to be open and be able to say, you know what, I ain't healed from that, but that's okay. And then you work through
You
it the
work
best
through it.
way that you can.
Continue working
Yep.
through it. Yeah.
It's a continual process.
Yep. Yep. Because I tell, if it was easy, then everybody be millionaires.
Yeah.
Everybody be happy. Everybody would have what they desired if it was just that easy.
Mm-hmm.
And do you really want something if it's that easy? Who really wants it if it's that easy?
We say we don't want the hard stuff. Like we all, I mean, I listen. I'll say this now. I don't want nothing hard anymore. Like I want to learn, but I want everything to be easy enough where I can be like, okay, we're on to something. But I understand, right, that God will use situations, things will happen in order for me to say, even in this, there is still beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
or to be able to see God show up in a different way. Maybe there was an attitude adjustment that I needed to take. Maybe it's a belief adjustment. Like, hey, I'm on a faith walk right now, y'all. And to say that I have not had to let go of a whole lot of stuff to be on this journey, because it's freedom, right? I understand that now. But before I couldn't. So it's like you gotta be prepared that life is going life. There's beautiful in any and every situation, even if it doesn't
Feel
feel
like it.
beautiful. Because if you can think about your mindset from the perspective of what's the lesson in this?
Yep.
What's the value that God is trying to show me? What is it that He is trying to show me, show me about the situation? Then I can say, even in this, it's there beautiful, because it is every situation we're in, good or bad,
Good or bad.
there is beautiful.
Yep. Yep. Trina stole my drink because I be saying every situation is a positive,
I
but
listen.
it's the same
Ain't
thing.
stealing. It's
It's
no
this.
competition.
It's the same thing though, babe. It's really it's the same thing because I'm a very energy person. So I always say I don't like a lot of negative energy around me, but sometimes you have to have that negative energy to get that positive that you need out of that negative.
Mhm.
So it's just like what you said. Every situation could is even if it's a negative situation, could be a beautiful moment for you. You got to figure out what that beautiful moment is. Because again, I go back and say, if God wasn't wanted it to be easy for us, then everybody will have what they'll have the abundance of everything that they wanted. But nah, God don't put it for us to say, "Oh, I want to make your life hard." Nah, He just wants you to work for it. That's it. It's I mean, if marriage was one of them things to where it could work for everybody, everybody would be doing it, right?
But this, I think for the me, this goes. I don't want to work for it. I want to believe for it. Like I know that there's certain things that I have to do. Right, there's the faith without works is dead. So I know that there are still things that I have to do, but I also have to understand that I've got to believe far greater than
Then
working
the words you
for.
could do.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, belief is there, but you still at the end of the day, we still have to work.
yeah. I'm
But you
not
still
saying
have to
that you
put
still
that.
have to. You still
But you
got
still
to
have to
do
keep
what you
that
got to
belief
do.
there too.
Yeah, but it's like for me, at least for me, right? My belief has to be greater than my efforts. Because if I don't
I got you.
see myself walking in that thing that I desire, the thing
You ain't
that
gonna
I
put 100
want,
in.
then I'm not going to give
I
100%.
got you. I
So
got
that's
you.
why I'm saying my
That makes
belief has
sense.
to be bigger than my actions.
Yeah, that's just like when it comes to dealing with kids. And I was just talking today about this, um, on how to get kids to be better readers. Was basically give them something that they want to read, not uh uh oh, sit down and read this 32 page chapter book, 132-page chapter book, and you're in the fourth grade. It's like if that person is not a strong reader, and it's not something that they want to read, they're not gonna put no effort into it. And it's the same thing. I understand what you're saying with that is that if whatever we're trying to do, if I don't put no effort into it, if I don't believe in it, then I'm not gonna put any effort in it.
It's like you got to put skin in the game, but you got to believe for it more
Yeah,
than. Because if you
yeah,
believe for it, right? If you know, if you can see it, if you can visualize it, if you can understand, the manifestation, the visualization of it all, then the work becomes easy. Because
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like, oh, there's a
yeah,
joy
yeah.
that you have when you can see it, when you believe for it, and like, oh, this thing is gonna work out. Then okay, but I'm gonna ride this out till the wheels fall
Right.
off. So.
I got you. I got you. I say they just talking through things makes you realize. I mean, because like I said, we could have came at these two totally different ways. You know, like man, I could have came on here like you not changing me, I'm me, and you
But you
come.
probably did say that at some point. I think
Uh,
both of us did. We did. Everybody says it. He ain't changing me at all.
but
And then
see, all right. If if you really are in tune with self, right, and your spouse says they don't like this, and this, try to work towards the. I'm trying to tiptoe in it without like going off the ledge, I guess.
just say it.
um, so I don't know how to say it, but I mean if it's one of them things where if you want to change, you could change. If you want to change, you could change. If but if as a spouse you feel like you're being nagged on it, then it could become an issue. You know what I mean? Because again, that's growth that person has to have within self. Because what I was saying, if I don't see that there's an issue, am I going to want to change it? So you have to see it for issue as yourself. I mean, this is just a wide range of things. It could be anything. Like simple little things of like not putting the toilet seat down, the toothpaste. These could be things to certain people that could honestly be like, yo, deal breakers.
That's
I'm
that
tired of
deal
I'm
breaker.
tired of
Yeah.
telling you to put the toilet seat down, bro. I'm tired of telling you to slide the toothpaste up. You know what I mean? So but should something that simple,
But
it
it's
might not be
simple to
right.
you, but that don't mean it's
It's simple to
simple to
that. Yeah.
somebody else. And I think
Yeah.
that's the thing we have to understand is what may seem simple enough for us. And I think that's why we think going into it that we can change
Yeah.
somebody because
Yeah.
you like, this ain't hard.
This
Like,
ain't
why
that
is that?
hard. Why you can't do this?
But for some, it is,
It is.
depending
It
on what
is.
it is. So I think that's where the understanding where the communication has to come in because is this thing, you know, is this non-negotiable or is this something you like, you know what, I don't care if the toothpaste don't roll this way
Right.
or if you don't put the toilet seat. I mean, listen, the toilet seat, our son, like
I'm trying, y'all.
this is an everlasting battle, especially when it comes to his sisters. But to understand, like I understand how it feels to sit on the toilet and it's up. He don't get to feel that, right? So to say like there's certain things like listen, it's just easy. But to him it's not easy. Why it ain't easy, I don't know. But I mean, y'all, let's all you do is put the toilet seat down. Like,
But
why is that not an easy thing? But in his mind, it's not an easy thing. Like, it's
no, I
just for
gotta get
him,
back to
it's
doing
just
what I need to
like
do. Whatever
I'm
I was doing.
right.
Yeah. I gotta get back to doing what I was doing.
So, but that's a beautiful example of why, we think something so simple,
Right.
but it's also this is a learning moment for him. Be like, listen, I understand that you want to get back to what you're getting back to, but it don't take much. Just
Yeah.
put it down. So
Yeah.
that's a good example.
Yeah, this is great. And he say, hey, it's one of those things where and that's why I thank you for it all the time. Because you always say just because the way you was raised isn't the wrong way, isn't the right way. So when we say like like honestly, it's very hard for me because I didn't have to deal with that growing up.
The toilet seat? Oh,
Yeah.
because all y'all just left it out.
Mom used her bathroom because she had her own bathroom. I didn't have no sisters or anything like that. So our toilet seat stayed up. I got three brothers, if make like six that people that just came and moved. But I've never really lived with a female other than my mother. So and when I ain't had to use her bathroom. It was the other bathrooms in the house to use. So it's one of the things to where, like you said, for us it's just as simple as flopping it down. Nah, we don't, man. It was hard enough for us to put that joint up, and we gotta put it back down.
Lord.
so,
See, y'all pray for me because this.
so, but I like I said, I understand, but it was just like is one of them things, man. Everything is a learning curve, is a learning walk, it's a learning journey. We are you willing to change? Me per se, I don't want to come in. I would say this: if you feel like when you make that list, if you got a list of changes, that might not be that person for you. That might not be that because if your list of changes are more than things that you're okay with, I hate to say it, that might not be that person for you.
That's true.
I mean, because like you could probably endure this person to the most, but if you got a list of changes, like, all right, I don't like that he got a long beard, he needs to cut it. I don't like that he has long hair, he needs to cut it. I mean, if you start doing these list of things, because all that stuff could be changed. I can start growing my hair back out again. Is she gonna be okay with that? Trina, when we first started, I told her I like long hair.
we are.
Look where we are now. It don't bother me. You know? So that could have been a pet peeve that I'm on. Man, I told you I ain't like that. Why you go ahead and do that? Nah.
I think you did say that at first, though. No, I'm just kidding.
But,
But you,
but
but
she but we discussed it before you went and just did it. Like you ain't just go do a big chop. You went from like long hair to like now I'm going to my ears. Then it went to like this ear. Then it was like shoom. So so it wasn't a drastic. I've seen long beautiful hair to the big chop back to the bald head. So is what you're willing. What you're willing to accept. What are you willing to work on together to build your empire?
and I think that's the thing that we want to reinforce is the building together piece of it, and you know that's where creating a beautiful life comes from. Is that there are going to be things that you have to work through together,
Yeah.
things on your list when you like, what, I'm not, this is not as important as this.
Mm-hmm.
And so you just have to understand that, okay, you may go into the relationship thinking that that your spouse may change, and you always have to be prepared in your mind, like, but they may not.
Yeah.
And you have to be okay with that.
Right. Are you willing to continue moving forward and continue to fight and grow with your spouse, even if some of those things aren't yet, haven't yet, but haven't moved the way you want them to move?
You know what? I'm so glad you said that, because I think if we have the thing that someone doesn't like about us, we're so quick to walk away,
Yep.
not realizing that the change was just right around the corner. We just have to hold on long enough to be able to
To
see it
wait it out.
through. So, but that's a whole big debate, right? Getting
Mm-hmm.
back into relationships, like, well, why do I have to wait? Because maybe there's a lesson in the wait, right? There's something that you need to learn during this
During that time.
period about your spouse or about
About yourself.
you, about it. So, change is possible. Like, we've seen family members, and you think, oh, there's no hope for days. And then God comes in and, like, with a quickness, there's a big change. So, if there is something that you would like to see change in your spouse, don't stop giving up, don't stop believing in that change, because if it's something so dramatic that has to change, right, God can do anything.
Yep.
We're
But you willing.
witnesses of that.
Yeah.
It's just you have to be willing. Are you willing to hold on until God says now is the time to change? And if not, then he'll be able to show you, hey, this ain't a big deal, let it go, type of thing. So that's a good point, because I think sometimes, with us in the microwave society, we want it instant, we want it right now.
Yep.
And
That's
listen,
that. No
change is right
patience.
around the corner. It's
Yeah.
patience. It's
Patience.
patience.
Now, I mean, how long is too long?
I think it
There's
depends on the
no, is no. Yeah,
situation.
I would say there's no timeline
It is not.
because for Trina, it might be 2 months. For somebody else, it might be 2 minutes. you know, it could be 2 years for somebody else, depending on the everyday situation.
Yeah.
So I don't think we should ever. No, I shouldn't say ever put a timeline, but depending on the situation, there should be a timeline.
I think that's where I may differ, because I think the only one that's on the clock is God. Like,
True,
he's the only one that can say when something is going to happen.
true
And
timekeeper.
so he's the true timekeeper. And so I can go in thinking, oh, it's going to take us 6 months. Like, we want a new, we want a new house. We got our goal, but that don't necessarily mean that that's going to line up with his will
Right.
for our life. And so we got to understand, like, we got to take God off the clock, right? We gotta take him off the clock, take ourselves off the clock, because there's reasons why you don't have what you want. right? Maybe you got to fix your credit, or maybe you got to have more money set in savings, or, whatever it is that you want to see change, whatever it is that you want to see manifest, you have to say, okay, God, I'm going to wait and I'm going to be patient, right? It's one thing to say a prayer to God.
Yeah.
But there's another thing to go say the prayer to God and then wait patiently for that prayer to manifest. Because you like, God, I done prayed about this over and over. I done prayed. I'm coming to you. Like, what's happening when our prayer may not be God's best
True.
for us? And so we have to understand that even though we want it right now, right? We got an idea of what we want, how we want it, and all the things. But God's like, that's not my best for you, so I'm not going to give you that yet.
Right.
So you got to wait it out. You got to find patience in the waiting.
That will go a long way. They ain't think about that. Because, like you said, we in this microwave society where everybody wants it right now. And I just pray all day that everyone gets back some patience for each other. Because that's a lot of times what it is that we run out of patience for each other. We run out of patience for our work. We run out of patience for our kids.
Yeah.
We run out of patience for everything. So I was listening to a podcast and Trinity touched on it when she said we live in this microwave society, to where at some point the world has changed because of microwave dinners. Everything they want it now. Instead of having to go and sit down and fix a 4 or 5 course meal, oh, I could just stick this down in the microwave, boom, we done. It'd be done in 5 minutes. And that's where everybody's mentality has now went to, is the microwave dinner. If it doesn't happen for me in this next 5-10 minutes, then I'm moving on to something else. Not necessarily, because that's not God's plan.
Yeah.
God's plan wasn't for it to work for you
Within the 5 minutes.
within the 5 minutes, within the 5 days, within the 5 months. It may take 5 years.
Yeah.
But do you have the patience to wait on it?
The patience and the faith.
Yes.
And the faith.
Yeah. This was a good one.
That's good.
This was a good one.
Thank y'all for joining us. If there's topics that you all like, hey, this will be a good thing for y'all to just drop it in the comments, inbox it or text us, however you do. But thank you for joining us on A Beautiful Life. Remember, you can't change nobody but yourself. So if you're going into a relationship with your list of these are my should and shouldn'ts, then really look at those things, because what if that person will never be able to change? What if you would never be able to change?
Right. So, would you still be okay with your spouse being the person that they are right now? And would you be okay with yourself and being able to move on?
Yeah.
So I want y'all to really think about these topics and give us some ideas, because I know that y'all going through some things and we can discuss it. We try to discuss all topics.
Yeah, it's
All
unscripted.
topics. Yeah, it's unscripted. So it can be anything. We can talk about I can tell you a story today. This has happened with me and Nick this morning. Eating breakfast. Because I have to take Ariana early in the morning on certain days for tutoring, and Nick can't go in the building yet. So sometimes we may go sit somewhere and eat. And today we sat down, and I sat at this little small table, and it's an older lady. She was like, "Can y'all come? Y'all can come over and sit with us." Well, with her. So me and Nick sat down. We sat down eating and talking to her and everything. And she took out $20 and gave it to Nicholas. She said, "Sir, is it okay that I give it?" I said, "Ma'am, I can't tell you what to do with your money," but he was like. She said, "I just want to give it to him because he's just a so well-behaved young man." And I said, "I just try every day. I mean, we try every day just to raise our kids to be respectful youngins. So when they're not around us, they always are respectful to no matter who they're around. Because I always tell Nick, I tell Ariana this, tell Kayla this. Respect's never given, it's earned. So if you want respect, then give respect."
Mm-hmm.
So That's just my little situation, man. My man looked at me like early Christmas gift, boss. Like I don't know what else to tell you. Tell the young lady thank you. And I mean, she said I just, and then this I mean it had to be an angel, like because it was just so weird. It was just weird how it all went down. But this lady, if you listening, if you on, thank you, appreciate you, and our conversation was amazing. It helped me get through my day because she told me, that you're a good dad, that you're doing a good job and things like that. And this is a stranger, so
Y'all had a beautiful moment.
we did. So yeah, that was our morning.
Well, y'all have a good evening until next Tuesday. I think next Tuesday. Yeah, next Tuesday because that'll be before Christmas. But send us your topics if you have them. If not, we will talk to you all next week. Have a great evening.
Peace out.